Hello. So there was a request for someone who wants to make themselves a vest, a weighted vest, something like this. Okay, and they want to know how to make their own rings and how to make their own stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so with the most basic tools that I have. Okay, so first thing that you need is somewhere to spool your rings around, right? I'm gonna work with two different tubes today. This tube right here has been with me since maybe 2002, since maybe the year 2000. I still keep it and I still use it. This is a Savage tube. This is also a Savage tube from somewhere else. I don't remember where I got it from. As you can see, they have a small slit. You're going to put your wire through the slits so that you can turn it around. Same with this one. Okay, this is a money clip. I use this one to spool the rings. Okay, so we're going to be doing this motion. This is what we're going to be doing. This is how we're going to make our rings. Okay, now we're going to work today with two different wires. This is a 14.5 caliber or gauge wire. Okay, this is galvanized steel. It's not stainless as you were asking, but galvanized is very good and very affordable. You can get it at any hardware store. This is 18 gauge or caliber wire. We're going to do first this one because it's easier to work with. We're just going to make a few rings, okay, so that you can see the process. So okay, we get the end, we find one of the ends, and we're just going to make a small bit. Let's move this around so that we can get a wire out of here. Okay, we're going to get to the tools that we're using. We're going to need in a few seconds. Okay, let's make about 1.5 rounds. We do not need much of it. So the wire cutter that I use is this one. Okay, it's a very simple wire cutter. I'm just gonna cut a bit. I hope that my fan isn't loud enough that you can hear me speaking well. So what I do once I cut a piece of wire is I straighten it up a bit. Okay, I'm gonna do the whole process by hand. Okay, straighten it up a bit. It's a bit more straight. Just a bit more. Okay, so why am I straightening the wire? Because we need it to have some resistance when we spool it. If it has no resistance, then you're not gonna make good rings. They're gonna overflow your tube, okay? So we're gonna start making it right now. We already straightened it a bit. That's all that we need for now. We're gonna insert our wire into the slits. Okay, it's into the slits. And what I do is turn it with my hands. Okay, the end of the wire has to go outside. Because we're gonna spiral inwards inwards to the tube, okay, to the inner part of the tube. This is how we're going to spiral. Okay, and now I'm going to get my money clip. I'm just going to insert it into the slits, just like this, and with my thumb, I'm going to apply pressure to the wire. I'm just going to turn it. Okay, here we go. There's some, we already have some there. We're going to keep doing this until the end of the tube. Now I recommend using gloves, okay? There's two reasons for using gloves. First of all, well, you can see I already have a small dent on my thumb. So when you're using gloves, you take care of your skin. And the second reason, which is I think, well, if you're going to do them manually, this is the most manual I can think of. But the second reason is because the wires don't always come very clean. So if you use your gloves, you're actually going to be cleaning the wire as you spool them. Okay, so we're just going to keep on going just a bit further. I actually have so much time without spooling by hand that I didn't really know how much wire we were going to require. I think I cut just enough. Okay, so when we're getting to the end, now I'm barely using 2 fingers. Okay, it's almost done. Almost done. You have to be careful. If I let go of this, it's gonna go by its own, okay? So, of course, wearing safety glasses is also a thing. It's an important thing to do. I don't use them anymore because I already know what this is all about. But I now use power tools, and when I use my power tools, I do wear my glasses. So here it is. Here's your first spool. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to cut this baby. Okay, I'm going to use this same tool. Okay, so this is not going to be a perfect cut, of course, but it's going to be as perfect as you can get with this kind of tool. So the first thing that we do is that we do not bite into the metal the whole way through. Let's see if I can focus here. Okay, we do not bite into the metal the whole way through. You can see the dent right there. Okay, so after we bite just a bit, here we go. Okay, now we're going to keep doing this for all the rings. Okay, you do not bite through, and you're going to make this kind of movement. Okay, so you close and you turn, you close and you turn at the same time. Let me show you with one of these. Okay, I'm going to close and turn. And you see that now it has been a bit separated, a bit lifted. Okay, I can put my nail in between. So very carefully, because we do not want to harm the wire, we do not want to dent it further, there's two ways. You can get it here by the side, just get it and pull it, or there's the easy way, which is that you put your spool. You see, I'm gonna put this spool here and touch the bottom part, and then just close it. Now you can pull it out with your hand. See if we can get, okay, there we go. Try moving it around. I'm gonna close it so that you can see the closure on this baby. Okay, I use this big pliers. You can notice that the end is not dented, okay? The end is not dented. You do not want fully dented pliers. You would prefer them to be something like this. No dents at all. But with smaller pliers, what happens is that you have to use more of your strength. More of your strength here and here. And with bigger pliers, you use more leverage from the tools themselves. So there's another thing that I want to show, and it's how people usually open and close their rings. So if you get your pliers just like this, aligned in this way, you can of course move them around, but the movement is going to be in your elbow, and this is going to cause a lot of stress, and you can end up with something called tennis elbow, and that's not good. So the best way to do it is actually like this, okay, in an angle. Why? Because this way, when I do this motion, and I have this tool here, and I do this motion, I am actually moving up here, my shoulder. I'm not moving my elbow, I'm moving my shoulder, okay? This, of course, is only to show. Okay, so now we have an open ring. Let's see if we can get. Here we go. Now we have an open ring. Now I'm going to close it, and I'm going to try to show the lack of denting. Okay, so always try to use your tools in an angle, at least in some kind of angle. Try not to use them totally aligned like this, because you're going to be using your elbow a lot. Okay, let's see if we can get this on camera. Okay, now my ring is closed. Just checking it. Make the most perfect closure that I can. For the camera. Let's see now. Let's wait for it to focus. Here, focus on the ring. Come on, camera, you can do it. There you go. Okay, so I hope that you can appreciate that this closure for an 18 gauge, 18 caliber wire is pretty neat. Okay, trying to move it around. Okay. Now all you have to do is cut the rest of them, right? So we're gonna use the same technique. We're just gonna grab it. I'm just grabbing it. I'm not applying any force right now. We're gonna apply just a bit of force while moving it. There we go. Now we break it up. Now I got it broken up. And we'll do the same for all of the rings, okay? I'm not gonna do it for all of the rings in this video. And we're gonna do the same thing with a piece of the 14 gauge so that you can see that it is possible. Okay. My 14 gauge comes with a bit of a, it comes right here. So we just take it out. Let me see where it is. I'm just gonna do 2 rounds of this just to show. We cut it off. You decide where you cut it. And we take it out. I'm spiraling it out of its enclosure. I'm gonna put that back on. So that I can recognize it later. Okay, same deal. So we're gonna straighten it out a bit. Okay, it's a lot straighter right now. And well, since this part already has a curve, this is what we're going to use, this end. Okay, so for this wire, we're not going to be using the smaller tube, we're going to be using the bigger tube. No particular reason, we could still do it here. Well, I didn't really prepare it. I could open this up. I could open this up a bit more so that we could fit this wire. But as of right now, it barely gets in. So that's why we're going to use our bigger spooling tube. Okay, so same thing. We get it in here. Get it in after the knots. Okay, so we get it in after the knots. We go in and go out wherever it wants. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull this way. Make sure that the smaller bit is to the outside. Okay. Because we're going to spool to the inside of the tube, to the inside of the tube. Okay. So of course the smaller bit has to be on the outside. I'm going to use the same tool, the same monoclip I use all the time. Now of course since this gauge is thicker, the wire is more resistant to, so you're going to feel it in your arm when you're spooling these babies. So we're going to do it just to show you that it is possible. So this 14 gauge wire is the one that I use for my vest, okay? It's exactly the one that I use for my vest. 14.5. Now I did spool this baby using a power tool, using a drill, but I still use this same tool. Now you can see by hand, you're gonna get, especially on your first wires, you're not gonna get perfect spool. You're gonna get some parts where you can actually put your nails into. That's okay. That's totally fine, okay? Maybe you'll get it to go up on top of the other one while you're spooling. That's okay, don't worry, just keep going. Practice makes perfect. It's totally fine. Remember that afterwards you're gonna be opening and closing those wires. Okay, we're gonna keep spooling here. I'm also spooling this thicker wire because the smaller wire, the thinner wire, doesn't show so well on camera, the closure. Okay, once you're getting close to the end, I'm gonna let it go. Okay, I'm gonna let it go just to show my head is very far away, but if I let it go, you see, it moved. The longer that you spool the wire, the more resistance this piece is going to have if you let it go. So it can get dangerous, okay? So just with this small amount of rings, it's fine. See, here's the dirt that I was talking about. Here's the dirt. So we're cleaning it as we spool it. Okay, so for the thicker wires, sometimes a little wiggle will help us release. Yes, of course you're going to do this right now while I'm on camera, right? Now let's help ourselves with our tools. This is what we have them for. Here we go. Released. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm even going to use the same tool, the same cutter. Okay. So there we go. We got it just by one piece, just by the one last ring. You're going to do the same motion. I'm going to cut. I'm going to apply force while I twist. Apply force while I twist at the same time. Okay, so let's see that in practice. Okay, now we're going to twist it off. Here we go. These are our rings. And we're going to do the same thing right here, okay? So you're going to make sure that your tool is very close to the last cut. Some people even try to cut in an angle. Let me see if I can show the angle. In an angle like this, so that the closures fit in angle and leaves less space. Okay, I like straight cuts. Some people cut in angle. I like straight cuts, just through the middle. cutting an angle is intelligent because you get like this shape. Okay, so there's a bit underneath that will apply force to the bit on top. They will feed something like this. The closure will feed something like this. So if there's something underneath trying to pull the ring open, it will be harder for it to open. It's also a very advanced technique. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it here straight. I'm getting it. I'm trying to get it just exactly. You're going to feel it with your tool and move it back just exactly until it's just on top of the last ring of the coil. So once again, pull and twist. You see that now it's become a bit separated. You can see the small dent in the inside. You can see it right there. It's right there. You can see it from here. Now let's just pull it off. Here we go. Of course, this is not machine cut. You just saw me cutting it by hand. And now we're going to close it just to show you how it looks. Remember to always try to get at least some angle here, some angle. You do not want to do this fully straight because you're only going to be using your elbow. You're going to damage yourself. You do not want that on the long run. It may seem easier at the beginning, but it's actually not. It's not good. See, here we go. We check it again. Try to make it as perfect as possible. Here we go. This is our fully cut ring. You can see, of course, there is a dent right there. Because we cut it with a tool and not with a saw, with a plier. So this way you can make your own rings, very good quality rings, by yourself, at home, at a very low cost. 2 pliers, whichever pliers you want. I prefer using big pliers. Oh, there's something else I forgot to mention. How you grab your pliers actually affects how much strength you're using or how much leverage you're using. Okay, if you grab your pliers just close to the knots, you're going to be using your strength. You're going to be using your muscles a lot more. If you grab your pliers by the end, almost only with 3 fingers, you're going to be using a lot more leverage. Okay, this applies, of course, to both of your hands. So I do see a lot of people like grabbing their small tools and they're almost grabbing them up here. This is going to damage you at the end. You're not using your strongest fingers, which are index and middle finger. You're using your, well, weakest fingers. You're using the palm of your hand. The palm is good, but just using your weaker fingers in the long run is going to cause trouble. Okay? So you always want to try to use your strongest fingers. Using the palm of your hand is good. It's very good in the long run, of course, than just using your thumb. So that's also why bigger pliers are better suited, because the ends of the pliers will be in your palm. Let's see what this is. The end of the plier will be in your palm, not just in your finger. Okay, so yeah, I think that was enough. I think you'll be able to do great things. Have a great day.